All right, William Pellerin is standing by. William is an international trade lawyer at the law firm Macmillan. He is in Toronto today. William, thanks for taking the time. What does this mean here in terms of those tariffs?
Well, it basically means that they are illegal based on U.S. law, that they're not constitutional, that this is a power that really is delegated to the U.S. Congress, and that the administration overstepped in using this tool, really a sanctions tool that was never really intended to apply to tariffs in the first place across the world, across most countries, and then, as you mentioned, Mexico and Canada also.
The White House is appealing. Does this ruling stay in place until that appeal can be heard? What are you reading? What are you hearing?
Yeah, so the idea here, and what the court said when it issues its decision, is that the U.S. administration has 10 days to effectively bring itself into compliance and cease collecting the duties. At this point, we know of the appeal, and it's likely that the U.S. government will seek effectively an injunction to allow itself to continue to collect the duties pending the appeal, but that's not in place yet. And so there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and companies are struggling to understand exactly when they can start shipping. And there's going to be quite a few head scratches along the way.
So in the meantime, the tariffs do or don't stay in place, or do we even know?
So at least for the next 10 days, the tariffs are in place. And then beyond that, we're going to learn more in the next few days as to whether the U.S. administration is able to prolong or play games to keep those in place while they pursue the appeals.
This International Court of Trade that people may or may not have heard of, I'm just curious about, their jurisdiction, and if, the White House appeals it, where does it go next? I mean, does it end up in the Supreme Court, or is it a totally different track? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the U.S. Court of International Trade. It's a federal court in the United States that is, as its name suggests, intended to deal with all matters relating to tariffs and duties and the like. The next step up, so where the appeal that has already been filed last night, is the Federal Circuit, the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. So that's kind of a federal court also, but one step up. And then after that, it would go to the Supreme Court. So this may end up at the U.S. Supreme Court, because it really is an interesting, novel issue of using kind of the presidential powers, the powers of Congress, national emergency issues, which the president has declared. And then beyond that, how a tariff might actually address or not address the emergency in question, right? Because let's not forget the idea that Canada and Mexico might have a fentanyl issue or tariff issues or a mass immigration issues is not actually directly dealt with by a tariff at the border on kitchen sinks and steel and aluminum and everything else. So those are really issues that the courts will have to grapple with.
Hey, one final one. Based on your expertise, this ruling, Trump's trade policies, any sense how this may play out?
I think it's going to change the dynamic with respect to the negotiations. I think that's probably the very first impact that we're going to see. Whereas a large number of countries have been coming, hat in hand to try to get their tariffs removed. Maybe these countries don't offer as many concessions early on if there's some hope that the U.S. courts are going to strike these tariffs down in the first place. So that's, I think, the first major impact. Folks might keep their arrows in their quiver, and that might include Canada. I think the second piece is really the retaliation by the various countries, including Canada. So for the time being, the tariffs are in place. These are appealed. I doubt that the government of Canada is going to remove its own counter tariffs because there's just still too much uncertainty. But that's certainly in the cards also. So lots to unpack in the coming days.
Well, we'd love to get you back as we get closer to seeing how this plays out. William, thanks for this in the meantime, though.